Hey there everybody, welcome back with the Plapper. Platypus is the name, and welcome to my first Elden Ring video. And today I'm going to be showing you how to get from level 1 to level 80 in just under 2 hours on a brand new save. No moving items, you don't need to trade overpowered things over, you don't need to trade runes, nothing like that. This is just a level 1 Wretch in the world of Elden Ring, getting to level 80, what I think is pretty quick. I don't know. Pretty quick to me, at least. Anyway, few disclaimers before we jump into it. This is not intended for first-time players. If this is your first playthrough, you don't want to use this kind of power level skipping, in my opinion, unless you're really struggling. My first playthrough took me about 96 hours, and I ended up hitting level 146 by the end. So this is like my fourth character at this point that was kind of doing this on, just to get things leveled up so I could try different builds and stuff. But yeah, figured I would share it. This is pre-recorded. I did record this, and I am just going to be voicing over it. And I got to apologize for the frame rate. I've been playing this on PS5. I recorded this on PC, and I had some settings messed up, and so the frame rate is kind of shitty in some spots, but the information's all going to be there, and I will address this for future videos. Anyway, this is going to be broken up into about, I don't know, anywhere between 10 and 14 parts, not sure yet, but without further ado, let's just jump into it. So we're actually going to start with step 0 because this takes place in the character creator. If you're playing Wretch, I recommend taking the lands in between rune. It'll just speed up the process. If you don't mind grinding a few levels before you get started, you can take whatever you want. My goal was to get this done as fast as possible, and getting those 3,000 runes right off the gate helped it because you're going to need to be able to equip a bleed weapon, and the Wretch having 10 of every stat just isn't able to do that. You could just pick a character like the samurai that starts with a bleed weapon, or a bandit that can equip a blood dagger that I'm going to be getting in a minute here. But I recommend the lands in between rune if you're going for the Wretch, just speeds up the process. So that's step 0. Step 1, where the guide, I guess, officially begins, is you're going to come right outside here in the first steps, and you're going to talk to this NPC. He's going to say you got no bitches and that you're maidenless, yada yada. We've all seen the memes. And you're just going to keep talking to him, make sure you exhaust his dialogue so he starts repeating himself. We're basically going to be doing this guy's entire quest line very quickly. And his quest line is basically the main goal of this guide. So just start talking to him right there. All right, step 2, I mean, basically, okay, step 1A, go get your horse. It's just going to make everything faster. I think that's kind of self-explanatory. But step 2, you need to get a bleeding weapon. Now, there's 3 ways that I consider to be pretty easy to get a bleed weapon in the beginning. The easiest way, and what I would, I guess, most recommend, if that's already the route you want to go, is just pick a samurai. Samurai starts with one, lets you just ignore this step, and you get to go straight to, a few steps from now. The other one that I think is easier to get, but I don't like as much, and I think it's harder to use. There's a flail right about down here. You're going to cross into the Weeping Peninsula. There's going to be, those things where you see 2 giants carrying like a carriage around on their backs with chains. There's going to be like one down here, but it's stopped. It's not actively moving. You can get a flail. It does bleed damage, but I think you need something like 15 or 16 dex to use and another stat. It was just like kind of hard to equip for a Wretch, if I remember correctly. But I also just didn't feel like it was as powerful as the other bleed weapon. So it is an option, especially if you have a character that just has stats that line up with it, or you just think you're better with it combat-wise, because we are going to be using this weapon a decent amount in the beginning of the game here. But what I recommend, and what I did, was you come right here and you get the Reduvia dagger. I believe that's what it's called. Yeah, the Reduvia. And so you're going to see right here, when you come over here, you get invaded. But kind of a cool thing about this is you just run around in circles like this, yada, yada, yada. And then like in a minute or so, you will get it's right about 60 seconds. You're going to get basically a defender, a cool guy with a samurai sword. I don't remember his name right now. He's going to come in, help you fight him. Now you do got to help him. He is not a god. He will just straight up lose the fight if you don't help him. And you got to be careful because this guy will 2-shot you, very easily, maybe even 1-shot you if he uses the weapon art. So he could really fuck you up. You got to be careful there. But this is how you get the bleed weapon early game. After you kill him, I would then use the lands in between rune, get your stats, equip this, and then we will move on to the next step. All right, next what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to come over here. I fast travel back to this one and use the things to level up. And then I travel right here and then here. So right here, you're going to find a Somber Smithing Stone 1. That will just help you get your weapon to deal a bit more damage, make the next few bosses quite a bit easier. Then you are going to come here, and this is going to give you one of the gold fowl feet, whatever it is. It's a consumable. It increases the amount of runes you generate for a set amount of time. So you're just going to pick up those, and then after you get those, you're going to take this northern road at the fork, and you're going to come all the way up. Just keep following the road. You don't need to pick up the map even. The road will lead you straight to the third church of Marika. And once you get here, as you can see, there is a portal behind this, which you are going to then take, and then you are going to ride, get on, your horse and ride down and basically just get the side of grace. That way, if something happens and you die, you got a safe spot. All right, so once you get here, you're just gonna ride down. I'll go ahead and show you the ride right here. Make sure you avoid this dragon. I'm not gonna edit this part out at all. I'm just gonna keep in the whole length thing here. I don't want someone to get fucking lost, I think there's a lot of things that could be cut out, a lot of fat that could be trimmed, but I think this is one of those segments that you actually want to see the entirety of the ride, because if you're unfamiliar with this path, it would be very frustrating to find it. But basically, we're going to be going behind this young Erd tree right here. You're going to take that gust of wind up. You're going to get stuck in this pot, at least do 1 360 no scope, and then you're going to keep going. Now that you've asserted your dominance, boom, you're going to come here. You're going to grab this grace, and then you are going to commit an atrocity that you will feel shame of for a long time, but it is a necessary evil. You equip your bleed weapon, and you go and you attack this dragon's ankle for about 3 to 5 minutes until he dies. You're going to do no damage, no damage, no damage. Then bleed will proc, which does a percentage of his maximum life. So after about 4 to 5, maybe as much as 6 bleed procs, you will kill him. The only thing to make note of is the timing of your gold-pickled foot chicken thing. I don't know what the hell it's called. But basically, you're going to take that. You are going to eat it, but not too soon, because it takes longer to kill this guy than you would expect. But you also don't want to do it so late where you don't get the runes, where you accidentally kill him. So just try to time that. Be a little careful with it. But yeah, then we're going to take these runes, and we are going to do something very important here. We are going to basically put ourselves at the power level that we are going to kill Godrick with. So I highly recommend you put at least up to level 30 in Vigor. Vigor is OP, especially in a shitty build like this where we're weak with weak weapons. We need Vigor to survive. You could put 99 points in strength, and it doesn't matter if you have a +0 or +1 weapon. It doesn't scale very strong. As soon as I finish leveling up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the round table hold and buy a long bow. So try to make sure you don't spend 100% of your stuff, your runes, on leveling up. Keep a little bit. You could buy this later. It's not a huge deal. I just like getting it out of the way now. So I go get the longbow from the husks in the round table. Then I'm going to go to the Church of Ella and talk to the merchant there. This will serve 2 purposes. This will, 1, allow us to buy arrows, which is nice. It'll always also allow us to upgrade our weapon there if we want, and we didn't do it at the round table hold for some reason. Also, you will be able to get the wolf summon and the summoning bell from Ronnie, which is going to greatly help in these boss fights, as they are great at staggering and they're great at pulling aggro. They don't have the greatest survivability, but our goal is to kill fast, not be in the fight for very long. All right, we have officially entered the boss rush mode. So our next goal, our next step, is basically kill Godrick. That might sound kind of difficult, but when you fought Godrick, you probably weren't at like level 35 or wherever we're at right now, maybe even a little bit higher. So this isn't going to be as hard as you think. So I am going to recommend that you summon still on both. You could summon the mage at the Margit fight, and you could use wolves. And then when you get to Godrick, which I do recommend going through the front gate as well, it's not that hard to avoid everything. You will be able to summon the warrior there and the wolves as well. Honestly, they make the fight much, much, much easier. And again, this is not my first playthrough, so I don't mind cheesing everything as much as possible to get to the content that I want. One thing I think you're going to want to keep in mind also, if you're using the Blood Dagger, don't forget that this weapon art is very, very powerful. It does a lot of good damage. I mean, the initial damage isn't insane, but it triggers bleed fairly quickly. And it takes something like 7 FP to cast it. So even without any stats into it, you're able to cast it many times. I don't know math, so I'm not going to actually do the math for you. But don't be afraid to spam this. It does leave you a little bit of, open, but if you're fighting a boss like this, it's really not too bad, because he's so distracted by all the ads that you have. And it's definitely going to be doing more damage than just your auto attacks at this point. Although the dagger can put out some pretty good numbers overall. Keep dodging. You guys have probably fought this guy before. I would say overall he's easier than Margit. And this warrior honestly could do most of the work. One of the things that I actually didn't realize is that you could jump over those ground pound attacks. I found that really, really useful. On my first playthrough, I just kept trying to dodge roll them. It didn't work out very well. So either way, once you finish Godrick off once and for all, what you're going to do is you're going to head back to the first step, talk to the NPC. He's going to instruct you to go see the two fingers. You might even be able to go straight to the round table and see the two fingers. I'm not exactly sure. I just go and talk to him. But you're going to go there, you're going to talk to the lady, she's going to talk on and on and on about some crazy stuff. You could either use the remembrance for runes at this point, but I don't really think it's necessary. But we do have one more boss to fight before we get to level all the way. So if you're feeling a little underpowered still, you can still do that. I personally wanted the axe, so that's what I did. Anyway, after you talk to the old lady by the two fingers, you are going to go talk to, you're going to go back to the first steps. He's going to be gone, and he's going to leave you a note saying, come find me at the Rose Church. So you are going to go to Lorena of the Lakes. I hope I'm saying that right. The Rose Church is right here. I always have like a hard time finding it for some reason, but this is it right here. You can see it's still not marked, even though I've been there a few times because I never went inside. Once you go inside, there is an enemy that is going to kind of fuck you up. This is the closest grace that I found, but I know for sure there is one down here. It might be right here. Could be worth checking for you. But it's going to be right around here. But either way, once you get through, you just get down to the shore and you're going to make the run. Once you find him and speak to him, basically he's going to ask you what you thought of the two fingers. And you just got to be like, those guys are fucking weird. I don't like them. And he's like, yeah, me neither. Here's 5 bloody fingers, which isn't weird at all. You know what? The fact that they gave you 5 is actually kind of interesting, but no thumbs, I guess. It's not important. Anyway, these let you invade other people's worlds. Now, you have to invade 3 times in order to complete this man's quest, so that's what we're going to do. Go into your multiplayer menu, go into your inventory, whatever, and invade 3 times. If you're on PlayStation, you do need PlayStation Plus to do this. Damn, that would have been important to put at the beginning of the guide. On PC, I have PS Plus, and I'm on PC. I just didn't think about it. But yeah, you got to invade 3 people in order to do this. So get those 3 evasions done. You don't need to win. You don't need to lose. Whatever happens, happens. After that, he's going to give you another quest. You got to tell him to anoint you, and he's going to give you a nice clean sheet that he wants you to go get the blood of a maiden. He wants to remind you yet again that you are maidenless and you ain't got no bitches. So you got to go find someone to kill. Which isn't necessarily true, actually. I don't even know if you can kill anyone. But this is where we are going to go and get revenge on the first boss that kills us when you start a new character. In order to do that, we are going to go to the 4 belfries. In order to get to the belfries, you basically just got to go to the northwest. It's not that hard to find, actually, but there is a semi-hidden path that I'm showing here that you kind of have to go up. There's a couple giants. Just ignore them. Ignore all the enemies. Run through it. At the top, there is a grace and a chest. Grab the grace really quick, and the chest can be used. It has a key in it that will allow you to access one of the portals here. We are going to go to, I think it's the middle portal. There is a developer note on the outside of it that says, like, Precipice of Anticipation. This will take us back to where we need to go. And basically, we're just going to throw down with that son of a bitch boss. This guy is actually pretty hard. With no armor and just our dagger, but if you have like 1 or 2 of the FP flasks, you can pretty much outrange him with your weapon art at this point, and it does enough damage to kill him. So it's not like a brutal fight, but I did die in one of my attempts here. So, just be careful about that. But once we have this, we're basically Done. All right, after you beat them, you're just going to kind of run up to where you first started the game. There is a door to the right that I recommend going to really quick. You could find a key item for continuing an NPC quest, but I won't spoil it now. You could also find a hawk summon. This is not mandatory, just something we noticed. We're going to come on down to the lady down at the base. We just interact with her. It will soak the thing in blood. And now we are going to head back to the Rose Church to get our reward. All right, and what we just got is probably the most powerful item in the game. He gave you a really cool, what the hell is it called? Pure Blood Knight's Medal. All you're going to do is you're going to go into your inventory, you're going to use it. It'll ask if you want to go to the audience grounds, and you say yes. I mean, you could say no, but you're just going to have to use it again, so might as well say yes. After that's done, we're going to wait for the load screen. It's going to take you right here to the Mogwin Palace, which is a late game area. So this is not going to be right where we farm. It is going to be in this area, but just to practice here, you know, good practice is to come up here, grab the map that's on this body. Then you're going to run up here and you are going to take this grace just so you can come back here later. Now, I used to be able to actually get to level 100 in 2 hours, but they just patched the game so the boss here can no longer be easily cheesed. So that's 420,000 less souls in the same amount of time. So level 80 is kind of where I think I am going to stick at. After you grab that, you are going to come back down and you are going to follow this route that I'm showing right now. It's actually a pretty safe route overall. You don't have too much to worry about. You got to watch out on a couple guys on the left and right, but as long as you're sprinting, going as fast as you can, and you jump off and grab the grace, it doesn't even matter if you get caught as long as you catch this grace first. And then we begin the grinding cheese, what everything has been leading up to. So basically all you're going to want to do is you're going to want to equip your bow and you're going to want to move up to where you can see I'm standing. You want to try to hit the bird in between those two, basically spots in the tree. If you hit right in the center, it'll hit an invisible wall. So if you hit on the right side of that circle, it will, it'll hit him. He's going to run at you, fall off the edge. You are just going to reset and keep going. I did this for probably 40 minutes to an hour, somewhere in there. And that's basically exactly the amount of time I needed to get me up to level 80. So you can keep going if you want a couple more levels, or you can cut it short if you don't want to be, you know, quite as high of a level. Really, it's kind of flexible. The reason I like this spot so much is because it also just lets you kind of buy whatever armor you find that you want as you go along, or you could just, you know, if you find a merchant that has a bunch of shit you want, you could leave, grind 100,000 runes in like, you know, a couple minutes, and then come back and just buy out the shop. So this is a very useful grind, not just for leveling, but just for purchasing things that you want in general and not having to keep a bunch of runes on hand in terms of like the Lord's runes, the golden runes, things like that. All right, and here we are completely post grind. This is my character after 2 hours of playing. I am exactly level 80 with 30 vigor, 10 mind, 30 endurance, 34 strength, 22 dexterity, 10 intelligence, 10 faith, and 13 arcane. I will be respecking later. The 13 arcane was just so I could equip the dagger. For this build, I decided I want to go with like a strength endurance build because I haven't really done that before, and it sounds kind of fun, you know, trying to shield. So I was going to do the test fight, you know, the level 80 fight against the tree sentinel. And I actually did. However, I forgot to turn on the recording. So I did that fight, commented. Well, to be fair, it was a shitty fight. I did a terrible job. I won, but I won because of my power level, not because of my skill. I ended up putting away the shield. I'm not really good at using shields yet. I haven't really got the flow of them. I never have used one in a Souls game. But there's a troll down here, so we'll just take a look here. I don't have any, obviously, you know, this is kind of this playthrough does not, this 2 hours does not upgrade your weapons at all. It's all about increasing your level and unlocking a good grind spot. If you wanted to go further, we can easily go to 120 if I wanted to be that, you know, tedious. I personally don't, but we could do that. But yeah, I got the Axe of Godrick from killing that boss. I did get the stats required to equip it. I'm probably going to go use that George R.R. Martin blade as well, just because it sounds fun. But yeah, let's go ahead and fight this guy. Our damage isn't amazing, but honestly, for 2 hours, I'm feeling pretty well built, especially for a level 1 Wretch, you know? And this is like a cool as shit weapon, honestly. Look at that, punk. All right, here we go. Use our thing. 1, 2. Do we do the third hit? No, we have to mash it to do the third hit. Right, he goes 1, 2, 3. That's cool. Are you gonna pull out your sword? That's okay, buddy. Please, feel free. Our shield does block 100% as well, which is nice. Man, I really like that swing. What a dope swing that is. All right, let's finish this guy off. There we go. Not too shabby. This armor is obviously, this is just the armor I got from the Husk ladies, the normal armor they sell, because you don't find any on this route. You could go and get the surgical set, I think, or at least the mask from killing some guys in Mogwin's Palace. And honestly, there's a lot of armor everywhere. A lot of merchants sell armor. That finding some decent armor isn't a big deal. I just got this because I am kind of going for a heavier set build. But yeah, that's it. That is the fruits of our labor. I did it all in, one sitting relatively easily. Yeah, if you guys have any questions, please leave a comment down below. I'm going to be here to, if you guys have optimizations, that's one thing, because that not only helps me, but anyone that watches the video. But also, if you just have any questions because something wasn't clear, I may have explained something badly, I have no problem updating, leaving some updated information in the description and the comments, maybe making a different video in the future. This is my first kind of like semi-heavily edited video in like a really long time, so I'm definitely inexperienced in that. So I apologize for any sloppy edits or quick cuts, but doing my best. Had a really fun time making this. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope this helps you have a more fun second, third, fourth, fifth playthrough in Elden Ring. And I will see you guys next time. Hey! Bye-bye!